I'm Vanessa.
And I'm Jason.
And today we're going to be teaching you how to play Quando.
Quando, designed by Jan Walter and Reinhard Staupper, plays between 2 and 6 players and takes around 20 minutes to play.
Let's get going and learn how to play.
In Quando, players will be ditching cards from their hands in an attempt to have the lowest score possible by the end of the game. A player can choose to end a round of play at any point, hoping to be the one with the fewest points in hand, but choosing exactly when, or as they would say in Spanish, cuando, to do so is a big part of this game. Let's dive in and learn how to play. In the box, you will find a rule book and a deck of 55 cards. You'll notice right away that there is something quite unique about these playing cards. They are all double-sided with different numbers on each side. Each card has a unique combination of numbers. So for example, there is only one 6-2 card. To set up a game, you need to shuffle all 55 cards well together. We recommend shuffling the deck a couple of times and then flipping over part of the deck and then shuffling again, so that all the cards are well mixed. Then deal 7 cards if playing with 4 or more players, or 8 cards if playing in a 2 or a 3 player game. For this tutorial, we're going to set up as if playing a 2-player game. So we would deal out 8 cards to each player. When taking the cards into your hand, treat the side that was dealt to you as the back of the cards, as you would do with regular playing cards. So when you draw them, you take all the deck and flip them over. And this is going to be your hand of cards. At this point now, and for the rest of the game, you are not allowed to look at the back of these playing cards once you've taken them into your hand. Absolutely no peeking at the back. This is a super important rule, so it's worth repeating. You're never allowed to look at the reverse side of your cards once they're in your hand. To finish setting up, place the remaining cards in the center of the table as a draw pile, and be sure to leave a little room next to it as a discard pile. And now you are ready to play. In Quando, players will be taking turns in clockwise order by first playing cards to the discard pile, and then ending their turn by drawing a single card from the top of the draw pile. During the course of the game, players will try to reduce the number of cards in their hand while also minimizing the value of the cards they hold. Gameplay takes place over several rounds, and at the end of each round, everyone scores the sum of all the cards remaining in their hand. So if the round ended right now, I would have a very high score, which in this game is actually a bad thing, because the player with the lowest sum in their hand scores 0 points, which is good because points are really bad in this game. So how does a round play out then? In each round, the player to the left of the dealer begins. On your turn, you must first play cards and then end your turn by always drawing exactly 1 card from the draw pile. On your turn, when playing cards, you have 2 options of how to play. The first option is you can play a straight of exactly 3 cards with consecutive numbers. For example, looking at my hand here, I have a 5, 6 and a 7. Exactly 3 cards in consecutive numbers, so I can play all 3 of those cards here. When playing a straight, it must always be exactly 3 cards, never more or less. And remember the rule that when you finish your turn, once you've played cards, you must always draw 1 card from the top of the deck. This means it's never possible to have 0 cards in your hand at the end of your turn, because you're always drawing 1 at the end of your go. The other option on your turn is to play any number of cards with the same number. So if I use another hand of cards here, let's clear this. If I look at my hand, I can play any number of cards of the same value. So I could play all 3 of these 2s here. Or I could play the 2 7s because of the same number, or just a single card like the 0, the 6, the 5. It's up to me. For this example, I'm going to play the 2 7s. With either option, either playing a 3-card straight or playing any number of cards with the same number, you must always end your turn by drawing a card from the draw pile.
When drawing from the draw pile, you must decide before drawing the card to take the face-up side into your hand, like this, or take a risk and take the face-down side. If you decide to take the face-down side, you are stuck with whatever number you drew. You are not allowed to change your mind at this point and flip the card back around to the number that was showing on top of the draw pile. Is it better to take the number you know, or gamble on getting a number missing for that straight or big run of the same numbers? The choice is yours. Once the card has been drawn, the next player sat in clockwise order around the table takes their turn as described. playing a 3-card straight or any number of same numbered cards, and then ending their turn by drawing a single card from the draw pile. If the draw pile ever runs out, simply turn the discard pile over without shuffling it. Easy! There is a little twist we need to introduce you to when you choose to play cards with the same number. If you manage to play exactly 3 cards with the same number, regardless of what number is on the cards, then every other player takes a little penalty. If playing 3 same numbered cards, be sure to announce you are doing so, because once you finish drawing your card to end your turn, every other player must then choose to either flip a single 0 card in their hand, making the card into a potential scoring card, which remember is a bad thing, or if a player does not have any 0 cards, they must draw a card from the draw pile, choosing like always to take the number showing, or blindly drawing it to show the face down number. If a player has multiple 0 cards in their hand, they only need to flip a single card, not all the 0s. That would be a little bit too punishing. A round can end in 2 different ways. Either someone only has 0s in their hand, or someone knocks and declares the end of the round. Firstly, if after playing cards and drawing their single card, a player only has 0s in their hand, no matter how many, then the round ends immediately and no further turns are taken. This applies at any point in the game, even if someone has knocked, as we're about to describe. The second way a round can end is when someone knocks, like they might when playing dominoes. Knock, knock. A player can do this on their turn instead of playing cards and drawing 1 card. They can knock and announce, "Last round." Now all the other players have exactly 1 more turn before the round ends. The knocker can no longer take a turn. If any players after the knocker does not want to play any cards, they are allowed at this point only to pass and do nothing. This is a big gamble for the knocker, because they are announcing that they think they have low enough numbers in hand to win the round and score 0, but everyone else has the chance to improve their hands. It is absolutely permitted and possible for a player to play a number triplet during this final round after a knock. The penalty of flipping a 0 or drawing a card will apply to everyone else, including the person who knocked, so there is definitely a risk in declaring the end of the round. Once the round has ended, proceed to score the values in cards in everyone's hand. The player with the lowest total is awarded 0 points, as the winner of the round, so to speak. If several players have the same lowest total, all these players receive 0 points. If the round has ended because somebody knocked, the knocking player must reach the smallest value hand alone. If they are not alone in having the lowest scoring hand, then the knocker takes a 5-point penalty in addition to the sum of the numbers in their hand. Let me give you an example. The knocker ends with 4 points. However, so does somebody else. And let's say the third person has 10 points. The knocker was not alone with the lowest score, so they score 4 points plus 5 penalty points, while the person here who has 4 points will now score 0 points. A new round will then begin. Once you have tallied everyone's scores, shuffle the deck and start a new round. The dealer changes to the next player in clockwise order, and they deal out a new hand of cards to all players, 7 in a 4 to 6 player game, or 8 cards in a 2 or 3 player game. The game will end as soon as a player has 50 cumulative points or more, at which point the player with the fewest points will be the winner. In the event of a tie, all tied players share the victory. If playing a 2-player game, we suggest setting the end game trigger to 40 points for a slightly faster game. And that's how you play Quando.
We hope you have loads of fun playing.
Bye for now!
Bye!